Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Yarnflakes Podcast. My name is Audrey and this is a nitty yarny podcast from the southwest of France. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this new episode. I hope you're all doing very well. I am, though I'm having a little bit of a headache for the past couple of days. So if I'm ever like this, this is why. But yeah, hopefully it will pass. I guess had a little bit of a stressful couple of weeks. I have been knitting on a super secret project, but it's now finished, so hopefully now I'm gonna be able to relax a little bit. And again, I guess the problem is that it's too long and then I need to cut it now. I have a little episode for you this time. I have a couple of design releases to share with you, a work in progress, and yeah, that's about it. Not a lot to say, because like I said, I had two really urgent secret projects to knit on, so I can't show you anything about this, and I am also currently test knitting something. Yes. I did say that I wasn't going to test knit until the beginning of next year, where everything would be a little bit more calm, but then something happened, so I'm test knitting something that I'm not showing as of now, but yeah, so I don't have a lot to share, although last time I kind of forgot to share a work in progress, which means that I'm gonna show it to you now, and it's even better because now it's rather big, so it's gonna be nice. I am going to start right away. You can find timestamps to all the different sections of the podcast in the description down below, so if you want to skip anything, if you're not interested in my patterns, my blabber, I usually try to put the timestamps whenever I go on a rant about something, which will not happen in this episode. But yeah, so if you want to skip anything, feel free to look at that and jump ahead. I also put links to everything that I talk about, as well as my social media and patterns for sale on Ravelry and my Patreon page. So yes, I am going to start with the new designs that I have put up on Ravelry. So I have two designs to talk to you about, and the first one is the one that I'm wearing, and so I just published it on Ravelry, and it's the new pattern of my Study in Pink collection. So if you haven't caught up on that, I have been releasing one garment a month since October, and it's a collection of garments that are knitted in like dusty pink yarns with a texture elements in the design. So we had Kloska, we had Cherrywood, and this is the third one, so we are approaching the end. There will be another one in January, but this is the third one. And as usual, I am going to insert here a lovely illustration that was made by a French illustrator, Charline. So she kindly agreed to work with me, and she's making drawings for each of the design, and so I'm going to put that picture here now while I'm trying to arrange my bangs. So here it is, and as you can see, this is December. We're approaching the end of the year. Here in the northern hemisphere, it's definitely winter. By the way, I know every time I ask if there's any people from the southern hemisphere, I get some people from Australia. I hope you are staying safe regarding the really awful and sad fires that are happening in Australia at the moment. Please stay safe, and I hope that things will get into better situation quickly. But yes, we are here really going full on into winter now. It doesn't get too cold where I live in France, but we're still having around 1 to 2 degrees Celsius here at the moment, so it is a bit chilly. So the mood is cozy, cocoon, large, comfy sweaters, and so Titicaca is just that. It's a really loose, oversized, nice and comfy, fluffy jumper. So I'm going to raise myself a little bit to show you said sweater. So it's a top-down raglan that's a bit oversized and loose with a more open neck than usual, because I thought that you could put like shirts and have the colors pop out, or even a rolled neck under it. That was kind of the idea, but even just like this, it's not overly open. As you can see, the back neck is raised as per usual, and yeah, it's pretty oversized. I recommend about 20 centimeter of these at least. The sleeves are like nice and straight with a little bit of a balloon effect on the cuffs. The body is straight, although as per most of my sweater designs, it's fairly easy to modify. Like if you want less ease, some of my testers did go for a more fitted look. It looks so good. You could as well incorporate some waist shaping, because as you can see, most of the sweater is relaxed stockinette. The bottom of the sweater is a split long ribbed hem, which is nice and comfy, because then you can just do a bunch of things like this and it's nice. And the texture element of this sweater is this stitch motif here, which is this sort of geometric kind of thing, which is really easy to do and really easy to adapt to however you want it to look, because basically there are two charts. One of them is the motif going down, as you can see, and one of them is the motif going up. So for me, for the length that I wanted, I was able to do 2 motifs going down and 2 motifs going up. But if you only wanted the motifs to go down, or only to go up, or to make an asymmetrical look, that would be very easy to do. The pattern has instruction on how you can adjust the length of each motif, because you could spread them apart and make it longer, or make them closer and make it shorter. So you can really easily adapt the look of this panel depending on the length of sweater you want and on what you just want to design it for yourself, basically. It's also different across sizes, because as you can see, it's not a big panel, and so for the larger sizes it's bigger. It has one more motif on either side, because it's more proportionate with a larger bust circumference. And so I did mention it as I was knitting on it, because it's something that I find interesting. It's not always possible to adapt a motif so that it looks good across all sizes, but in this case it was really easy to do, so I did it, because I decided I would rather have a motif that looks different across all sizes, like a little bit different, but that looked proportionate. That's the decision that I made for these. Now obviously you can mix and match. If you want a smaller motif and you're making one of the bigger bust size, it's easier to just switch it, and the other way around as well, in case you want to have a larger motif. My voice is, I don't know why I'm out of breath. Like I've been talking for 15 minutes it feels, and I'm like not breathing. Calm down, Adrian. So in case you want it to look larger, you can easily switch to make the bigger one as well. It's only a 5-stitch difference. So yes, you can place it at the back, you can make several of it, you can do some at the underarm if you want. Really easy to play around with, and I absolutely love it. It's like, look, it's so nice and comfy and so wintry. I guess I'm gonna get a lot of wear of it, because I'm really feeling the loose, super comfy garments at the moment, and yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for every day. So now that I am showing this to you, I'm gonna be able to wear it as much as I want. So yeah, so it's called clocada, which in Occitan means a little nest of chicks, of baby chicks, and it also refers to I think you say Pleiad as well in English, the constellation, and I just thought it was really fitting for this little nest thingies. They kind of look like bells. I call them bells in the pattern, but like they could look like leaves. They could look like little eggs as well, I guess. So this could also be an Easter jumper. Yeah, let's do all the seasons in one. But yeah, I really like it. I knitted mine out of 2 strands. So yeah, I didn't say this is a decay sweater, but I knitted mine using a fingering weight and a lace weight held together. So the fingering weight yarn, my main yarn, is Stranded Dyework, so lovely yarn from Amy Florence. Stranded Dyework, her BFL Massam base, which is amazing, woolly, soft, plump. I absolutely love the BFL Massam blend. I'm definitely getting more, and there's a Belgian indie dyer that has a decay weight BFL Massam, and she naturally dyes them. This is Nathalie from By Night Création, and I'm definitely gonna get some of her decay version, because the BFL Massam blend I just found is really, it has character, but it's easy as well. So if you're rather new to more natural woolly yarns, like maybe you're used to BFL already, maybe try a BFL Massam, because it's like the perfect transition between BFL or more rustic merinos towards Shetland yarns and all those kind of more prickly type of yarns. BFL Massam is really nice, and this shade was Grubby Pink, which is lovely toned down version of pink. It's like grayish, but at the same time it has some odd speckles, as you can see here. There's a little burgundy speck. At some point there's also some ochre bits, which I really like. And I held it together with Holst Garn Titicaca, which is their alpaca lace weight, in, I think it was Heather Rose. And I think the two made a really beautiful blend, and it just worked really well. It's not too heathered, and at the same time they kind of merge really nicely. Something I forgot to mention is that before the ribbing you have like just a row of purl stitches, so that it makes this little blip, because I kind of like that. So yeah, I think that's about it. I have put out a little coupon code for the release, so it's gonna be 20% off until next Sunday with the code CLOCADA. Everything is written in the description down below, so if you like this sweater and if you would like a cozy winter jumper, and you like this one, maybe, oh look, curly. When I was a child, my hair was really curly. This is not really curls. It's no, you know when he makes a tube like this. Funny enough, we call this English, literally English ladies in French. We say anglaise when the curls do tubes like this. And I had a lot of this when I was a child, and sometimes they do it again, but not a lot. The hair podcast. So yeah, This is Titicaca. I really hope you like it. Like I said, you can check my tester's version because they made a lot of different fitted variations. They adapted the panel. They used a variety of yarns, whether they hold them double or they just used a simple decay way. I really like their version, so go and have a look if you need some inspirations or if you want to see all the possibilities that you could do with this sweater pattern. So, yay! This is Titicaca. I think I said everything about it. So second to last of my garment collection. The next one will come around mid-January, whenever I come back from my endeavors, because I will let you know at the end of the episode what I'm going to be doing across the holidays. So the last garment will be a cardigan and it will come out in January. But yes, this is the December one and I really hope you like it. As usual, if you do like a design, any design from any designer, and you want to support them but not necessarily buy it because you don't need it right now, or like you appreciate the design but you wouldn't make it, which happens to me quite a lot. Like I appreciate a lot of work and at the same time like I'm never gonna make that, but I really appreciate. For some people it's the creativity, for others it's the intricacy of the design, and I look at it and I'm like, that is great, that is a great thing, but I either wouldn't wear it or it's not my type of project, so I know I'm not gonna make it. And sometimes I do buy it because when something is really interesting and really powerful and I want to support it because I think it must exist, I will still buy it to support the person. But most of the time I favorite it on Ravelry, and so I highly encourage you to favorite the patterns that you like on Ravelry. This really helps the patterns get visible for the designers, so that is a nice way that you can help the creators you want to support. So yeah, speaking of support, I'm going to move on to the second design I want to share with you. And if you've been following me for a while, you may have noticed that in the past couple of years that I have been designing, I have released a free pattern every year, and I like to do that. I want to keep doing it. Make a free pattern for you guys to basically thank you for allowing me to make the one and only thing that seems to really make me happy and really suit me, both mentally and just mentally. It's a work that really fits me. It fulfills what I want to do, how I want to do it, and it just caters to all aspects of things that I like to do, because I like a creative thing, but I also like some more admin type organization work, and I also like math and nitty-gritty writing instruction things. Like, I like all of it, and it's really difficult to find a job that works for you. It has been impossible for me before until I started designing, and I'm really happy to be doing it, and I'm really happy that I'm slowly starting to be able to properly get a revenue from it, and that is thanks to you. It's not like it's very unstable revenue, of course, but it's still there, and most importantly, like, the financial aspect of it is of course important. There's no need to be lying about this, because I couldn't keep doing it if I wasn't making any sales. But most importantly, it's I get a lot of support and a lot of people telling me really nice things about my work, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the designs, and I'm always so happy to be talking with people and exchanging, helping whenever I can, and getting help, gathering all of your experiences on a certain topic, And yeah, I just think I'm really happy to be able to design, podcast, and just share knitting stuff with all of you. And so I do really like to put out a free pattern a year as a little thank you. And this year's, you have seen a sneak peek of it in last episode, is these mittens. So these are colorwork mittens, which are called Strone Fruit mittens. And I have put them on Ravelry. They're available so for free, again, since the beginning of December. And they're a Narran weight pair of mittens, so they knit up so quickly, like incredible. I have used Yarnvibes yarn. So the yarn I made a review of last episode. This is their Veil range, so they're more semi-solid colorway in silver birch, which is the grey, and plum, which is the plum color. Quite straightforward here. Yes, they are super quick mittens that are really dense and firm and super warm. I really like them. So they're mittens with the thumb to the side with a little gusset here. You have a little cuff, quickly a gusset, and you have this flower motif on the mitten, which is the same on the front, on the back, and it means that basically the two mittens are the same. So you're doing twice the same thing, and that way the right and left mittens are interchangeable. So it's a little bit easier for beginners because you don't have to think right and left, and you don't have to do symmetrical things. So it's a really beginner friendly pattern. The colorwork itself is not necessarily beginner because there are long floats to catch, and you kind of have to do colorwork while you're increasing here for the gusset, as opposed to more Latvian type mittens which have the thumb here on the inside. Here you do need to increase here, which makes some floats and stuff, but it's still overall a pretty simple pattern. And yeah, if you have never knit mittens, or if you like to make really quick gifts for the end of the year, that is that. And I really like the fact that the flower is here, obviously, but also like here, because it's kind of like nesting in your palm, and I really like that. So yeah, you need very little yarn, so you can make a pair, you can make two pairs. Yeah, and as usual the pattern has instructions so that you can adapt the size by modifying your gauge a little bit. But yes, it's a nice little pair of mittens. It took me a while to get them right. I wasn't quite sure how I wanted them to look when I was working on them, and when I started making this big chunky flower, I was like, that's about it, I just want this flower. So the rest kind of went into position as little geometric drops to kind of complement it, but yeah, mostly it's all about that flower. And yeah, so the Strone Fruit mittens, which are available for free on Ravelry as a little thank you from me to you. I also noticed that as I put up this free pattern, I received messages of people telling me, thank you so much for this free thank you, that was really French, thank you so much for this free pattern, as a to thank you, I'm going to buy another one of your patterns. I'm like, that's not how it works. Don't buy a pattern to thank me for a free pattern that I put out. That's not a thing. Stop this. But yes, thank you so much still. That was weirdly sweet. I'm not used to sweet people that much. I guess that's the case for a lot of people. We're very used to a lot of negativity, and so when people are just kind, it's a bit of a shock, to be honest. But yes, these mittens are my little gift for this year. I hope you like them, and yeah, I really want to keep doing that, putting out a free pattern every year. I don't know what will be next, but yes, you have a hat, the bold soprano hat, which is very old, and yeah, was actually one of my first patterns, and I put it up for free. It's a colorwork hat inspired by Romanian traditional motifs. You have the triptych shawl, which is a shawl that uses 3 different weights of yarn, and that it's like a black, white and grey shawl, and it just is sort of a plea for people to learn about gauge and what it really means. And it's free as well on Ravelry. You have my first ever pattern, which is a pair of socks with a little open cuff detail. Again, very old pattern, very full of uncertainties as far as pattern writing goes, but it still works, I guess. And now you have the Strone Fruit mittens, which are a much better representation of what my patterns look like now. So yes, it's also interesting because it happens quite often that you really like a design and you get the pattern, and then you struggle a little bit with the designer's own way of writing patterns, and that is not necessarily the designer's fault or your fault, because people function in an assortment of different ways, and so it's really common to be more or less familiar with a designer's style because it suits more your way of thought and how you function. You also get used to a designer if you keep knitting their patterns. So I think having free patterns is also a good way for you to kind of get an idea of how my patterns are written, and if you like that style, so that you can sort of get a hint of what it looks like before actually buying a pattern. So yes, that is a bunch of reasons why I think it's nice to put out free patterns from time to time. And yeah, I hope you like these mittens. They're here for you anyway. And that is it with the designing aspects of thing. And I have a work in progress that I want to show you. The work in progress I forgot to share on last episode for some reason. So as I was really stressed out in deadlines and urgent secret knittings, what happens? I see the most beautiful shawl being released, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm gonna cast it on. So I did, and I have done quite a bit. So it's a Winter Serenade by Lisa Hannes. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say it. She's Maliha Designs on Instagram. She is a really prolific shawl designer. She made lots of gorgeous shawl patterns. I have quite a few of hers, and I have knit one already before. She's really good at cable shawls, and I really appreciate that as I'm a cable fan. And Winter Serenade is just, excuse me, yes, I adore it. I've seen these cables quite a lot lately. I don't know where they come from, but it seems like everyone is using them. Like there's a Russian person on Instagram that has a dress pattern with this cable, and it looks really cool. And if I ever had the body that was able to wear straight dresses, maybe I would. For now, no way. For now and never, because I don't think I can cut my hip bones Anyway, I really like this cable. So this shawl is amazing. I really, really like it. The pattern is written row by row, and there are charts as well, so you can choose which instructions you prefer to follow. I decided to choose to follow written instructions. I don't know why, I just felt like written instructions was better. So you begin at the tip here, at one tip here, and basically you increase on one side. On this side here, where you have a little garter border, you increase. And on the other side you have something that I find so beautiful, is so you have a I-cord border here with a couple of garter stitch alongside it, and I just think this is super neat. It looks really, really cool. Both the I-cord and the garter stitch, the association of both, it makes this really noticeable border, and I think it looks really good. I really like how this is. And so yeah, you keep increasing. Basically you set up for the motif, and then you have the full repeat, which is like 68 rows, something like this. So it's a big repeat, and you repeat it however, that's not how I'm supposed to say it, like the number of times that you can or want, before at the end you have a ribbed border that is merging into the cable, and you knit as well the border however long you want it. So the original sample only has 3 repeats of the main body. I'm currently on my 4th repeat because I have a bit more yarn than what the pattern calls for, and I want this to be huge and chunky, and I want to use all of this yarn because it's gorgeous. And yeah, so I'm on my 4th repeat, and also I don't want a big reaped border because I want this to be mainly the cable, and I wouldn't want the ribbed border at the end to kind of be too big, and I think it would look weird. I would just want it to be like this, you know, just a little bit. But yeah, just to say that even if the cable repeat itself is quite large, 68 rows, the pattern is written in such a way that you can adjust depending on however much. That's not how. Why do I keep wanting to say however much? That doesn't work, does it? To how much yarn you have, and how you want it to look. So it's not a complicated cable. It's only 4 stitches cable, so only 2/2. Sometimes it's only knit, sometimes it's purls. So it's really not a complicated cable. You just need to pay attention and not miss it. At the same time, if you miss a cable, which happened to me a couple of times, or if you do the wrong cable, like if you do only knits and you had to do purl in the cable, when you're on the wrong side row, you see it. Like, you're gonna notice your mistake right away, so you're gonna be able to correct it pretty quickly. And yeah, it just looks really intricate, but you just have to pay attention to it, and the stitches themselves are really not complicated. And I absolutely love it. I have been able to knit on it while watching videos without a problem, just having the pattern in my vision so that I could follow the row I was on. And I just really, really love it. And so far, this is how big it is. So it's not blocked, and it's already almost my wingspan. And I think I'm 2/3 down my 4th repeat, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to make a 5th repeat, because this is what I have left. And I think after the 4th repeat I will have to move on to the ribbed border. So this shawl calls for worsted weight yarn, which is, yes, I love it. Oh, actually, I lied. I have an extra project I can show you. How silly of me. Yeah, we just extended this podcast. Anyway, it's worsted weight yarn. And I wanted a nice worsted yarn with this color. I wanted a cinnamon rusty brown color. And so I looked around and I found a French retailer that I often purchased from. She had Squoosh Fiberarts yarns, and I never heard of this brand, but they make really nice semi-solid, and they have a worsted weight yarn, which is this one. And this is the Spice colorway, which is exactly the color I wanted. Absolutely love this color in a way. It's like, I like it because it's not really caramel, it's really redder, more red. So I really like it. I'm alternating skeins because I didn't want to risk having a sharp cut. And yeah, I'm alternating just before the I-cord here, basically. It's really easy to alternate skein. If you have an I-cord border, it's seamless. You don't see it, basically. Like, you really don't see any tension or any thread going up when you have an I-cord, because you just change skeins. Basically, you knit a row with your yarn, you slip the stitches for the I-cord, and you turn, you knit the I-cord, and then you pick up the other yarn. So you pick up the other yarn after you've knit the 3 stitches of the I-cord. And this just looks pretty neat, and it makes it easy to alternate skeins. So this is my winter serenade. I don't think I will finish it before the end of the year, because I have other things that I need to do, even though I really wanted to have it for my holidays, because it's gonna be so nice. But yeah, winter serenade, really like it. I think I said everything about it. I think it's gonna get huge when I'm gonna block it, because this is superwash merino. I didn't say it. It's just a typical superwash merino hand dyer, indie dyer yarn. And yeah, I wanted something soft, plump, and this just filled the requirements. And so, my last work in progress actually is something I just started knitting on, and it's a new design. I wanted to design a chunky shawl / wrap / scarf for a while now. Well, I have a few planned, but this one kind of self-imposed to me. I just said, oh, that works. I had 3 skeins of Dererum Natura Gilead that I bought so that I could swatch and make things in it. But then I looked at them and I thought they looked really good together. And they did. So this is Dererum Natura Gilead. So this is the French brand of French and Portuguese merino wool. Gilead is one of their wool and spun blends, like Ulysse and Sorano. This is poivre blanc, so white pepper. It's their off-white grayish kind of color. This is June, so this light pink, and this is caramel, which everyone knows about. And I just thought they looked really good together as a sort of a fade, but not really fade. And so I decided to make a wrap with them. I wanted a chunky lace thing, because I really like how lace looks in thick yarn. You kind of have to find the right lace motif for it. When you do, I just really like how it looks. And so I've started. And let me make sure I show you the right side. Here it is. Ta-da! So this is a Japanese lace, which I kind of I modified a little bit. I added a stitch so that it would work for my repeat. And this is how it looks like unblocked. So yeah, it's gonna be quite interesting because it's chunky, big lace, and at the same time it has such a delicate twisted stitches, smooth, and yeah, I just find the contrast interesting between the fact that it's such a thick, so Gilead is worsted yarn, but since it's woolen spun, it's whatever you want it to be. So it's quite a thick, woolly yarn with a very delicate little Japanese lace. And it's very nice to do. I don't think I'll memorize the pattern because even if it's just a few rows, it's like 18, because I modified it so I don't remember. It's 18 stitches I think wide and about 20 rows tall, so it's not that big. But it's the way it works, it keeps you into it. Like I have to look at the chart. But yeah, I made a I-cord everything basically. So I made a long I-cord cast on and then I picked up from it so that you already have your I-cord border, because I didn't want to pick up at the end and make the I-cord border because I wanted it to go smoothly into the side. That is something I really like when you make a wrap or a shawl that has an I-cord border all around. I like to make sure that in the corners it just smoothes and works continuously, so to say. So that's the cast on that I have worked. As you can see, it's sort of scallops, not a lot. I don't know if I'm going to force it to scallop more when blocking. I don't think so. But yeah, and continue the I-cord on the side, and I'm on my third repeat. And yeah, so originally I thought I could use only one ball of each color, but then I realized it wouldn't be big enough, and I really want it to be like a large, long wrap that I can wrap myself in like a blanket. And in any case, it's going to be really easy to adapt to however much yarn you want, really, because the way the pattern is going to be written is that you do however much you have, because I'm going to do my first color, so I ordered a skein more of each color so that I can make it bigger. Hopefully it will arrive soon. It should, because Derome Natura is in Toulouse, which is an hour from me. So usually when I order from them, it gets delivered like the day after or the next day. So it should come tomorrow or Thursday at the very latest. But yeah, so I'm gonna do this with my first color. Then I'm gonna make a couple of stripes. And that's why I chose this motif, because of this line here. This one here. This ripple here. This is going to blend really well with the moment when I will want to stripe to introduce my next color, and then I'm gonna do the same thing in the next color, etc, etc, until my last one. And yeah, I considered making 5 different colors, because I could have, with the color range of Gilead, I could have picked 5 different colors instead of having 2 balls of each colors. But I chose against it, because I decided against it because thinking of how other knitters would do it, it's more expensive to get different colors rather than making sure you have enough meterage of one color. I don't know if I'm very clear, but I know that if people would use a different weight of yarn, it would be easier for them to get the right amount of one color rather than two separate ones. I don't know if I'm making myself very clear. Basically, it's cheaper to have more yarn in less color than to multiply the amount of colors that you have. Especially if you don't want to have leftovers, or if you are actually using leftovers, because I think this design could work really well with leftovers, because basically you knit until you almost run out of yarn, and then you stripe to incorporate your next color. So now I'm thinking about this, and I'm definitely going to put it in the pattern, because I want to see a tester's version where it's just scraps, like these advent calendars patterns, you know, that uses a bunch of different mini skeins. So yeah, using scraps of different colors, because you could make like one, you could repeat them, you could make a fade, you could make it just one color. Obviously this would be really beautiful as just one color, but yeah, this is how it's gonna look like. I really hope I can finish it before I go on holiday, because I would like to take pictures of it in Romania with my boyfriend, because pictures when someone else is helping me taking the pictures are always nicer, and I think this pattern deserves it. So yeah, this is my work in progress at the moment, and we're approaching the end of the episode. I want to mention quickly, since this is December, that this month on my Patreon page, what we are doing. So in case you don't know, I have a Patreon page where you can get patterns, 1 or 2 per month, pattern of your choice depending on the level of support. And also every month I put up a video on a certain topic, making a certain things. These videos are recorded in French, but I subtitle them in English, so if you can read subtitles and bear subtitles, then you are very welcome. Obviously all the other benefits of Patreon are in both languages, so that's not an issue. But yes, this month on Patreon we are making this little headband. So this is the Beely headband, and am I gonna be able to put it on? Yes, sort of. Sort of. So this is Beely, which is a little simple headband with a duplicate stitch motif, and the pattern has different motifs that you could choose from. I made this leaf, and the pattern itself is available to all Patreons. So starting from level 1, which is $2, you get the pattern PDF, which is kind of my gift to my Patreons. So yes, and if you are level 2 or 3, which is $5 and $10, you can see the video where I share all the different techniques involved in making this headband. So that's a provisional cast on. I talk about knitting in small circumferences. I also talk about how to join ends of yarns depending on the type of fiber that you are using. I showed the duplicate stitch method, and then I show the grafting, so which can be a combination of 3 needle bind off and kitchen stitch. So yes, this is this month's topic on Patreon. So if you are interested in joining us for this month for free, you will be very welcome there. And as usual, Patreon is not a lifetime commitment. I have absolutely no problem with people coming and just getting because they just want what's happening this month on Patreon. So when you join Patreon, you have access to the previous month's videos and this month's videos and benefits. So if you just want this pattern, and if you just want Clocada, for example, you can just come on Patreon. You will get the code to download Clocada on Ravelry in exchange for your $5 support, and $10 is 2 patterns, so you know it's like, if you most of the time you get more by becoming a Patreon. So I have absolutely no problem with it being a way for you to get a pattern and only stay for a month. If you are only interested in this month, you can come and go. It's absolutely not a problem. So yes, that was my little December Patreon speech, and we are approaching, like I said, the end of the episode. So yeah, it's the end of the year. I am leaving next Sunday, so the 22nd on Sunday. I am leaving, hopefully, because there's a lot of strikes happening in France, and I always appreciate how typical it is that they do it, not when it's going to bother the government the most, but when it's going to bother the people the most, so right in the holiday season. So hopefully I'm gonna be able to go to Romania for my little holidays, and yeah, I'm gonna spend a couple of weeks there, and then I will have a weekend in mid-January that I have to go to Paris for work, for something something secret, and yeah, hopefully I don't get trapped in strikes or in snow and I can do all of this. But yes, basically from the 22nd of December until like the 13th of January, I will sort of be away. I will still have access to internet, unless problems, but internet in Romania is absolutely brilliant, so there's no I actually am better connected there than I am here, so it should be fine. So yeah, I will still be checking my Ravelry messages, which is where you should contact me if you have any pattern support question. I will obviously check this and make sure I answer to you. I also answer to emails, but I do prefer, like it's written on my patterns that you should contact me on Ravelry. I prefer that. Instagram, at some point I'm just gonna not answer anymore on Instagram, because sometimes it's a lot of messages. So if you have any pattern support questions, send them on Ravelry, and even during my holidays I should be able to check it rather regularly, but it might take longer than usual. And please don't be that person who sends a pattern question and in the first message says something like, please answer me quickly, I really need your help, I'm stuck, I bought the pattern, you have to answer me. Like, yes, that is my job, I will answer to you, don't be rude. But yes, I will be available still, just a little bit slower probably, because, well, holidays. And yeah, I had a lovely year here on the podcast, and overall knitting wise and designing wise, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to 2020. I have lots of projects, lots of ideas that I'm really excited to share with you. And yeah, I have taken a few decisions regarding my work. The main one being that I will be saying no when I have to. I do love collaborating with dyers, because I just think it's really, really interesting to create something to flatter someone's work, because if I say yes to someone, it's because I really appreciate their work. But the problem is I have been saying yes to everyone, and things have been accumulating, and unfortunately in some circumstances there have been some issues like delays and problems, and the thing is it stresses me out a lot when my collaborations are stacking on top of one another and someone has an urgent deadline, and sometimes it's unrealistic and I want to do too well, and so I say yes and I'm struggling and it stresses me out. Like I have like severe anxiety issues around these sort of things, and so it's too much for me, and I don't want to end up into a circle that's really unhealthy for me work-wise. And so I will not let my own schedule suffer so that it accommodates someone else's. Basically, that's my decision for 2020. So I had to say no to a few dyers, and most of them I think understand and take it well. It makes me sad when I can see that the person is upset and think that I don't want to work with them. Like if I don't want to work with a certain dyer, I will just tell them that I'm not interested in working with them. A dyer or like it never happened with a dyer, but a company, I will just say no. But if I say not now, I really mean not now, because I actually keep a list of people who have contacted me and who I've told I can't right now, but I am interested. And I always check, if I don't know the person, I always check their work before and say not now, but I'm interested. And I have a list, really organized. I have a list of people who have contacted me and who I couldn't work with. I couldn't plan something for them at the moment, but I have my list. It's in the right order. So as soon as I finish all my current collaborations, I will be able to settle down and go one by one, because the irony is, for most of them, I just get so inspired by their work that I look at their yarn and I'm like, yeah, I could do this and this. And so for most of them, I actually know what I will submit to them for a collaboration, but I just can't plan it right now, and I don't want to overly stress on it, and I don't want to say yes to someone and then have it last for months, and I don't want to say yes to someone and have to panic knit something because their schedule is too tight and their expectations are a bit unrealistic, unfortunately. And yeah, it makes me sad when I don't get an answer back, because I can I guess they think that I'm not trustworthy or not respecting the fact that they contacted me. But yeah, it has to be sort of an equal thing here, and I don't want to stress myself over something that I genuinely enjoy doing when I can do it in the right conditions. So that is sort of my resolution for 2020. I will say no a lot more, and then I will come back and say, now is the time, now it's yes, now let's do it, and do everything that I can for each and every one of the people I can work with. So that is what I'm going to do for 2020. I have lots of personal projects that I'm really excited about, lots of design ideas that I've sort of mentioned here and there, like the sock, the intricate sock collection for spring that I'm definitely gonna do, and a few other secret things that I cannot share with you, but yeah, a lot more accessories too, I reckon, because I love designing accessories, and I focused on garments a lot, and I do have a ton of garment ideas, so I think I'm going to still have quite a lot of them out, but yeah, it's really demanding to design a garment, and I do want to pay more attention to certain things, to experiment with like bust darts and things like this, and I genuinely want to do it. I don't think it's gonna be possible for every garment design, but I do want to do it. And the problem is, if I keep stacking garment designs and not taking more time to implement these experiments, then I'm a bit sad because I'm not able to do it. So I'm gonna renew my love for shawl design. I think, as you can see, I already have this little wrap here. I have a few other in mind, and so this is yeah, I think 2020 is gonna be more time, basically. That's kind of the idea, to take more time. And yeah, I think I'm gonna stop my rambling here because it's already been an hour. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a very happy end of the year, whatever you celebrate, or just celebrating the passing of the new year. Yeah, I hope you have a lovely time, that you are safe and sound, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah. Thank you so much for a lovely 2019, and here's to just as good, if not better, 2020. Bye!